I was one click away from submitting my PhD thesis when I noticed a requirement that made my stomach turn. The university demanded a mandatory acknowledgment section, a public thank you note. The same university that had drained my research funding cost me $10,000 through administrative incompetence and left me to finish my PhD completely alone. They wanted gratitude, so I gave them gratitude. 3 full pages of it, and buried at the very end was a paragraph they can never erase. If you've ever been forced to smile at people who made your life miserable, you're going to love this story. Hit like, subscribe, and settle in, because this is one of the most satisfying cases of academic revenge I've ever heard. By the time I reached the acknowledgement section, I was exhausted in a way that sleep couldn't fix. It was past midnight. The glow from my laptop was the only light in my apartment. My coffee had gone cold hours earlier, and my shoulders felt like they were made of concrete. I'd spent years working toward this moment. The thesis itself was finally finished. My 2 supervisors had approved it. The research was solid. All that remained was the university's final formatting checklist: margins, fonts, citation style. And then I saw it. Acknowledgements. Mandatory. The university had even included a note emphasizing how important it was to thank everyone who contributed to the success of the thesis. Success. I actually laughed out loud, not because it was funny, because it was absurd. When I started my PhD, things looked promising. I had earned a scholarship, my teaching evaluations were excellent, and I had a strong reputation in my department. I genuinely believed I was building a future there. Then, everything fell apart. My primary supervisor retired unexpectedly. The retirement itself wasn't anyone's fault, but what happened afterward absolutely was. The research funding I had been promised started disappearing. Requests sat unanswered for months, equipment purchases were delayed, then mysteriously mishandled. Eventually, I discovered that administrative errors had cost me nearly $10,000 worth of research resources. $10,000. I remember sitting in an office while an administrator shuffled papers and said, "Unfortunately, there's nothing we can do at this point." Nothing we can do? As if $10,000 was pocket change. And that wasn't the worst part. The department eventually took away the tiny space I used for research. Not a laboratory, not an office, just a desk. One desk in a shared room. I came in one morning and found my things boxed up. No warning, no alternative, no apology. I stood there holding a cardboard box filled with notebooks and cables, feeling like someone had quietly erased me from the department. That was the moment I realized I was completely on my own. I still wanted the PhD. I had already invested years of my life into it. Quitting would have meant walking away with nothing. So I adapted. I found another way to fund myself. And this is the part that surprises people. I paid for the rest of my research through escorting. Yes, that kind of escorting. It wasn't the life I had imagined for myself, but it worked. The clients paid well, I was good at it, and for the first time in years, I had control over my own finances. Every research expense came out of my own pocket. Every conference trip, every piece of equipment, every software license. The university contributed almost nothing. So when I saw that mandatory acknowledgement section, I felt something hot rise in my chest. They wanted me to publicly thank them for helping me succeed. After everything. For a few minutes, I considered writing the shortest acknowledgement possible, one bland sentence, something forgettable. Then I had a better idea. If they wanted gratitude, I would give them gratitude. I would give them so much gratitude that nobody could miss it. I opened a new document and started writing. Most PhD acknowledgements in my department were 1 page, maybe 2 if someone was especially sentimental. Mine became 3 pages. I thanked my supervisors in detail. I wrote about the specific advice they had given me and how it shaped my thinking. I thanked my family for supporting me during the years when I disappeared into research. I thanked friends who listened to me complain at 2 in the morning. I thanked patrons who had encouraged me when I was ready to quit. I even thanked the flight school I had attended years earlier. explaining how aviation taught me discipline, checklists, and the importance of staying calm under pressure. The more I wrote, the more sincere it became, because these people actually helped me. And then I reached the final paragraph. I remember staring at the cursor blinking on the screen. This was the part that mattered. I didn't want to rant, I didn't want to sound bitter. If I sounded emotional, they could dismiss it as a tantrum. The perfect revenge had to be polite, professional, impossible to challenge. So I wrote, I would also like to acknowledge the university for providing me with a valuable wake-up call that ultimately fostered my development into an independent professional. The challenges encountered during this journey required me to cultivate autonomy, perform my own maintenance work, source my own funding, and develop resilience beyond the boundaries of academia. For these experiences, I am sincerely grateful. That was it. No accusations, no insults, no profanity. Just a perfectly polished paragraph that said, in academic language, "Thanks for abandoning me. It made me stronger." I read it 3 times and smiled. Then I submitted the thesis. A few weeks later, I defended successfully. Final validation passed, the degree was approved. And that's when the best part hit me. By university policy, every approved PhD thesis is permanently archived in the university library and uploaded to the public online repository. Forever. My acknowledgment section became part of the official academic record. Anyone can read it. Future students searching for thesis examples can read it. Faculty members can read it. Administrators can read it. Alumni can read it. And because the rest of the acknowledgement is so warm, detailed, and genuinely appreciative, that final paragraph stands out like a perfectly sharpened knife hidden inside a bouquet of flowers. The university can't remove it without altering an approved thesis. They can't claim it's unprofessional. They can't accuse me of lying. All they can do is read it. I found out later that several junior students were already using my thesis as a formatting reference. Apparently, almost nobody reads the body text of old theses, but everyone reads the acknowledgments because they're trying to figure out how to write their own. So every year, new students will stumble across those 3 pages. They'll see the heartfelt thanks, and then they'll reach the final paragraph, the paragraph that politely documents exactly how little the university actually helped me. A criticism so polite they can't object to it. A record so official they can't erase it. That's the kind of revenge that ages beautifully. Sometimes the most satisfying revenge isn't shouting, insulting, or getting even in the moment. Sometimes it's telling the truth so calmly and professionally that the people who wronged you have to preserve it themselves. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button and tell me in the comments what's the most satisfying act of subtle revenge you've ever witnessed. And if you love stories where karma gets the last word, subscribe for more Reddit revenge stories just like this one.